107 FM, 710 Keel, Robert and Aaron in the morning. Robert is out. I've got Shreveport Council Vice Chair Lavette Fuller in studio with me.
Yes.
Thanks for being here.
I'm happy to be here.
We are so lucky to have Ava Dejoie. Did I get that right?
You absolutely did. Thank you.
Sweet. You are the Louisiana workforce queen. Is that good today?
Oh, I won't go that far, but I'm secretary of the agency, and I am honored to serve in that position.
Ava, is that okay for me to call you that? I apologize.
Absolutely.
People are really on edge now about this $400 added benefit that the president signed the executive order to provide. Now that the benefits ran out at the end of July, but a fourth of it has to come from the state. How's that going to work?
Well, we actually, at about 8 o'clock last night, when I was leaving my office, we got guidance from USDOL. And I know to listeners, to everyday citizens, guidance sounds very government-y, and it is, but those are the rules that all state agencies will have to abide by, and the parameters under which we will then do our computer programming and get the money out, and what they tell us, who we can pay, who we can't pay, what we can do, what we can't do.
Who's eligible?
At this point, we are, as I said, it came out at 8 o'clock last night, so we're reviewing it. The way it reads, there were two options for states to use. Option one was the state put up $100 for every individual on unemployment insurance, and there would be a $400 federal match.
4 or 3?
FEMA. Well, that's option one, which
okay.
Most states are not eligible to do option one because state budgets, that's outside of the state unemployment insurance trust fund. So in other words, for the $400, the state would have to come up with $400 of state general fund money.
Ooh.
I don't know of any state that's doing that.
No.
Most states are using the unemployment insurance trust fund, which of course each state must have. You have to pay those benefits from when someone is unemployed from the unemployment trust fund. In normal circumstances, it is an employer that pays into the trust fund on behalf of the employee, and we pay benefits to the laid-off worker that the employer has paid in for them. We are using option 2, which provides for those benefits to count that we have paid for from the trust fund. Where we need clarity is that the $247 of weekly benefits, the maximum weekly benefit for in Louisiana, will count across the aggregate of all people on unemployment. And if so, we will be able to pay those individuals who are on a federal claim, a PUA claim, a gig worker, that would not normally be receiving benefits from the state unemployment insurance trust fund. Awfully complicated, I know.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
please help me.
Okay.
Help me to help make it clear to your listeners.
We're going to try to make it simple, but I know there are concerns about how much we have in the trust fund, right?
Yes, is our trust fund down? This is Lavette Fuller from City Council. It's nice to speak with you today. Our trust fund is down to $250 million from $1 billion. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's a scary thing. We at the Louisiana Workforce Commission were very proud of last year when we went before the Revenue Estimating Conference, as we have to do every year in September, and we're reporting $1 million plus balance, and we're projected to hit a new trigger when we would go before them this September that would actually bring the taxable wage base down to $7,000, making it the lowest in the nation, and also bringing the weekly benefit amount up as well. We never dreamt that we would be talking about the trust fund going bankrupt, and we are talking about the trust fund going bankrupt.
How soon?
In fact,
how soon?
We began the process yesterday of applying for interest-free loans, similar to 20 other states, to tap into 3 months of benefit of funding beginning mid-September.
Wow. Okay, how soon, you know my question, how soon is John Q. Public going to see any of this money? I mean, it ran out the end of July. People are now struggling, coming into the middle of August. They want that money to arrive. What's the timetable you're hoping to get the money flowing?
Well, we got the rules last night. We will begin processing that. I'm sure there will be additional guidance that will come out from USDOL, and we will have teams working around the clock as we did just as similar when the CARES Act came out. We were the second state to roll out the CARES PUA, the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance for those gig workers. We were the second state in the nation. That did take us about 2-3 weeks. We're hoping to get this done as quickly as possible. Certainly, we're working with our sister states that we all use the same the company, the vendor that does the system for us, that handles the programming. But it's not an Excel spreadsheet where we can say we sort these people. There is definitely all of the checks and balances that go into a massive computer system evaluating billions of pieces of data. And that data is for everyone's protection. I mean, because that data ensures that there's not identity theft. That data ensures that you're getting your payments to your bank account and that it's safe and secure and all of those things. And it is code and computer programming that we'll be doing for the next definitely week. It may be 2 weeks. We are going to do everything that we possibly can to do that. Folks went in last night to start the process of deciphering what the rules were and going over that with legal and other states and sending questions back to USDOL.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned checks and balances. Will there be specific criteria for applicants when we get to that point, say having to show proof of applying for jobs?
There are a lot of unknowns, again, about this. It was only on the call day before yesterday with USDOL and about 800 other labor folks from around the country that we got clarity that the state payment, the $247, would be applied across everyone to meet that $100 threshold per person. Mm-hmm. We want to confirm that that is, in fact, what we heard. We now have in writing because the state does not have the $100 for every person that does not meet that $247, that may be getting a state benefit. Mm-hmm. And to your, I'm sorry if you could repeat the question. I wanted to make that clear about where all of the nuts and bolts that we're going through.
Yeah.
Will people have to prove that they have been applying for jobs? We saw that.
Well,
this.
We did bring back Work Search. Work Search is not punitive at this point. Work Search is, and every single individual on unemployment insurance got a video to the email address that they provided to us because we wanted them to know, not on a 30-second news clip. We have time, y'all. We go to commercials. You have lots of stories explaining Work Search. If someone has a COVID reason for not being able to complete Work Search, put COVID-1, COVID-2, COVID-3. Work Search is not going out if you have underlying health conditions, if you are taking care of a child. Work Search is, I called an employer, I went to an employer, I asked them where they're hiring, I sent a resume out, this is what I did. So we are strongly encouraging everyone, because there are jobs out there, this is a chance, this may be your opportunity to build a new career, to build a new future for you and your family with an employer that is in need right now. So everyone has to complete Work Search every week. We are not at a juncture now where anyone will be cut off. We are encouraging everyone to look for opportunities because unemployment is a bridge. Unemployment started in the Depression, and we know that Depression lasted many years. God willing, and I hope we're all praying COVID goes away and that there's a vaccine and we won't be in a pandemic. We're not trying to put anyone in harm's way, but there are jobs out there, and for those that are in that position to take advantage of an opportunity right now, it's a win for them and a win for the employer.
Ava, where do folks go that are listening that want to get the ball started to get these added benefits? laworks.net. Will you have all the details there?
We do not have anything posted yet because again, we don't want to put bad information or misinformation out there, right? But we will be doing a release today. The governor will talk about it at his press conference today as we finalize all of the details on everything. We will get that information out. At this juncture, an individual does not need to do anything.
Gotcha. Great to hear that.
The
Okay.
programming is not there. The $300 is not going to roll out. Normally you have to file a weekly certification by the end of the week to get your payment the following week. The money is not deposited in our account. It's not set up to go. No states are rolling this out right now. We are in the staging process.
Gotcha.
So individuals, just sit tight. We will keep everyone involved. Our teams are working around the clock. We stayed on the phone and back and forth till the wee hours of the morning. But we will get information out. But an individual doesn't have anything to do right now.
Gotcha. Ava Dejoie, Louisiana Workforce Commission, the Queen. No, the Secretary. Sorry. Thanks
That's
for
so sweet. I only wish I would make sure if I were a queen, I would make COVID go away.
I love that. Me too. Thanks for your time. We really appreciate it. Great info.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
You bet. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Ruby.
Starting things off looking pretty clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Uri Drive.
One 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Robert and Aaron in the morning. Robert is out. We've got Councilwoman Lavette Fuller. I didn't pre-warn you of that, Chief. I hope you knew. I thought maybe you had heard. But
Good morning, Chief.
I was aware.
okay.
Good morning.
Because she might throw a curveball. She throws those nasty questions out every now
No,
and then.
I don't. I wouldn't do that.
I'm good with it.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
We have to live with each other like in Government Plaza. I'm not going to do something that he's going to be mad about later.
And I know you're both thinking, no, you're the one who throws the nasty questions out. Chief, yesterday, an exemplary job at Auctioner LSU Health, the St. Mary campus. Some really tense moments. Kudos to you and your folks who did a great job. We got the guy. Nobody was seriously hurt. So I wanted to say that to you first. Any updates on that for us?
So we're going to actually have a press conference this morning at 11:30 and try to give more details. There are quite a few updates to what information we were able to give yesterday on scene because we want to be accurate. But I can just tell you, it was amazing. It truly was an amazing experience. We train for situations like that, have for several years, but to see it unfold operationally, to see, officers and deputies and troopers and agents from multiple law enforcement agencies come together, break themselves into teams and work together, people that you may not even know. It was really amazing.
You anticipate the suspect being back in our area soon?
I do. As I understand it, he's going to waive extradition, which is sometimes what prevents a suspect from being transferred back to our jurisdiction in a timely manner. So I don't know exactly how quickly that will be, but by waiving extradition, it'll certainly speed up the process.
Okay, our purpose was yesterday, and I apologize for being a moron yesterday, thinking maybe you could still come on. You were kind of busy yesterday, so we moved it to today, and we want to talk about crime and the pay raise plan for one that was proposed by Councilwoman Fuller, who happens to be sitting in the room. Her plan, I'll outline it and she'll correct me if I'm wrong, takes the money that you have for officers that are not currently funded, that are not currently on the force, right, and using that money for a pay raise. Is there a flaw in that plan?
Let me just start off by saying this, because I think it's important to start by saying I appreciate Councilwoman Fuller for bringing the conversation to the table. I think she mentioned that hey, she brought it to the table and now it's at the forefront and has to be discussed. That's great. Kudos for that. There are some issues with the plan as proposed. The primary one being that we had to unfund 29 positions just to meet next year's target number. It's a continuation budget, which means we cannot spend more money next year than we budgeted this year. Well, we spend close to $1 million a year in increases just for the 2% longevity. Then we had increases in contractual services because we're getting a new report management system. We had increases in materials and supplies, improvements in equipment because we have to get new tasers for officers. So essentially, we had about $1.5 million in increases, but you can't go over last year's number. So to do that, we had to unfund vacant police officer positions already. So we were only able to fund 551 police positions for next year. The pay plan, that was proposed, unfunds another 49 positions. So that puts us at funding 502 police positions, which is about where we are now. The problem with that is we're not healthy where we are now. We're forcing officers to work overtime. We have an average of 12 hirebacks a day just to meet the staffing numbers we feel comfortable with on patrol. And so I understand the argument is we don't have people in those positions, so why fund them? The concern is that we need to fund them. We're working hard on recruitment push. We really need to get our numbers up. And if you unfund positions for 2021 and use the money for pay raises, then we're going to have to increase that money exponentially the following year because again, we can't function at 502 police. We really need to get back up there into that 550, 560 range.
Let me ask you that, because a lot of people have that question about our population continues to decline, but yet we have more officers now than we did, 10, 20, 15 years ago. How do you answer that argument?
Well, so there's a couple of things. Let me start by saying this. If you look back 15, 20 years ago, yeah, we had fewer officers. We also had almost double the crime rate. And so Part 1 crimes 10 to 15 years ago were 16 to 20,000 Part 1 crimes in a year. We're down to 11,000 Part 1 crimes a year now. And the reason we're down, part of the reason we're down, is we've developed specialized units and we've got officers that function, focus on certain crimes, such as the violent robbery task force, homicide, sex crimes. So we have people that specialize in violent crimes. They're able to solve them more readily and they're able to prevent them. We can do that because we had more staff. If we get rid of some of those specialized units, then those crimes will more than likely increase. And I've seen that through the years. If we get rid of a specialized unit, those crimes begin to climb again. And so although we functioned with fewer officers 15, 20 years ago, we had more crime. And so it's kind of a payoff. If you remember, a couple of months ago, I actually suggested we eliminate a couple of specialized units. And the question that was posed to me from some council members is, will that increase Part 1 crime? And I believe my response was, well, probably. Because anytime you get rid of a specialized unit such as a warrants division, the warrants division takes people off the street that are already wanted for crimes. So it's logical that those people are probably committing other crimes. If you eliminate that unit, Part 1 crime will probably increase. So, the conversation now is, would I rather eliminate some of these specialized units and Part 1 crime possibly go up so that I can staff patrol, or would I rather pay a lot of money in overtime and force officers to work patrol in order to keep the specialized units that help prevent Part 1 crime from going up?
Okay, I'm going to ask you.
So it's a little bit of a give and take.
Well, is there no way to hybridize some of that so that you still get some more of an impact on your patrol without everyone having to do overtime, Chief?
Say the question again. I'm sorry,
can
Councilman.
can you not have your specialized units multitask? Can they not be hybrids where they spend X amount of time specifically on their specialization and some other time on patrol without them having to do the overtime?
Oh yeah, no, and they do that. We have the supplemental patrol program, which is exactly that. Instead of going and working their shift, they work some time on patrol. So you do have some of that. We've been doing the hybrid type enforcement now for 18 months. The problem is, and what I kind of dealt with lately is we're wearing our staff out. They're tired. They work in 60, 70, 80, 90 hours a week, and then you call them and say, hey, I need you to go work a patrol shift. So we're talking about, let me bring the homicide investigators up. So a homicide investigator responds to every shooting when a person is shot, not just those that are when someone is killed. When a person is shot and a homicide investigator goes out, we have 10 of them. We've had a shooting every day for the last 8 weeks, except for possibly one 24-hour period. So they just rotate, and then that's not going out and working a crime, and 30 minutes later they're ready for the next one. You know, sometimes these investigations take weeks or months, and so they're piling up on their desk. And then I'm saying, hey, why don't you take a break from that and go work patrol? It's really not taking a break; it's additional work. And so we've been doing that, but again, we can't function at that level, being 88 officers down for an extended period of time.
Okay.
Very, very proud of our officers. They're doing a good job now, but we're going to wear them out.
If her plan has those flaws where you need those officers, you need them in the budget, what's the answer to getting more pay? I mean, you're hemorrhaging officers.
We have got to come up with a revenue source, and I think that's where the conversation is turned. We've got to identify a consistent revenue source to pay for additional officers, and that's something that the council and the mayor's staff are going to have to work on. Where can we find this revenue source? Because I agree, pay raises are needed, absolutely no doubt about it. But I think we also can agree that we don't need fewer police officers. And so it's like so many things that we deal with on a daily basis. It's that double-edged sword. But if we can identify a consistent revenue source to pay for those pay raises, then I think that's the way to go. That won't affect the number of officers we're trying to hire.
A tax increase is, you didn't say the words, I'll say them. Revenue source is a tax increase. Will the public support that today?
Unfortunately, and I'm a member of the public as you are, we're going to have to decide how important is public safety to us. Is it worth us paying a few more cents on whatever that tax may be? There are some millages, as I understand, that can be rolled into different revenue sources. There are fees that you could place on certain segments of the population depending on, items they buy or services that they receive from the city. So there's a number of ways that it can be done, and that's not my area of expertise, so I'm not even going to pretend to know exactly what it would look like. But again, I think the public's going to have to say what is really important to us. If public safety is that important, and I know it is to all of us, you're going to have to give a little in order to get more police officers, to compensate them better. It'll just benefit us all the way around. And hopefully that will bring in more business. That'll bring in more population. So you'll see the benefits of those pay raises and that little bit of increase in whatever fee it is by seeing improvements in our city.
Okay, Chief, can you stay with us for another segment? Do you mind?
No, I don't mind.
Do you have a hard hat?
I do.
Okay, put your hard hat on because I want to talk about everybody that's working those desk jobs when we come back.
Certainly.
Okay, that is coming up next right here, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Ruben.
Just received reports that an overturned tractor trailer has all lanes of North Market blocked just north of Hearn Avenue. And we have some backed up traffic on I-20 westbound near Spring and Market. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call on the traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Heat advisories up from noon today till 8 p.m. tonight. We're going to look at sunshine in the forecast today. Heat index values up around 105, 97. Partly cloudy and early shower tonight, low 77. Sunshine tomorrow, a pop-up storm during the day, 95. Saturday, sunny skies, high 97. Richard Noetic at the Weather Channel.